The Windrush Nation Awards recognizes Colleen Amos, who with her sister Valerie, Baroness Amos, turned their passion for education and tackling underachievement into the catalyst for founding the Amos Bursary, and in the process of transformed the lives of hundreds of young people of British, African and Caribbean heritage who have academic ability to attend university but held back by other factors. Through their expert skills of bringing together elite universities and leading international firms providing internship and personal development programs, they have helped countless young people to secure professional careers and turning them into future leaders. Colleen Amos, everyone. Yes. I'm delighted to be joined now by Colleen Amos, OBE, one of the recipients of the Windrush Nation Awards from tonight. Colleen, welcome to Live Radio UK.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
First of all, your opinions, your views on the awards tonight and the old gathering altogether.
It's been an amazing evening. I think what I've really enjoyed about it is the stories that have been told.
Yes.
About the older generation, but the fact that the story has been carried through and it incorporates the young people. For me, the Windrush is very much about, yes, we have to celebrate the past, but we must make sure that our young people are really ingrained in what we do as the future.
We read out part of your citation that you and your sister, Baroness Amos, started the Amos Bursary. For those who don't know, tell us a little bit about the bursary, what it does and how it came into being.
Okay, so, well, my parents passed away together in 2008, and they were, for us, phenomenal parents, but they were also very special to our extended family, and particularly to a lot of our friends. Their home was always open house for our friends, and they were both in education. So both my parents were qualified as teachers, but my mum moved away from actual teaching, and she worked for the local education authority. My father remained in teaching, and he became head of sixth form in a school in Kent. So when they passed away, our friends and family just said, you know what, you need to do something to celebrate their life as some kind of tribute. And so it just seemed to us naturally to think about what they were passionate about. And they were passionate about education, both of them. And we would have very long discussions at the dinner table, talking about education, talking about the challenges that young black men face, talking about racism. All of those things were very important. So when they passed away, it just seemed a very natural decision to identify a group of young men who were of African and Caribbean descent, who were very academically able, but came from challenging backgrounds. And what we wanted to do was to almost give them the skills that they would have learned if they'd gone to an independent school.
Right.
And it was all about preparing for us the future generation of leaders. It was about changing the narrative that existed that time around young men in the community. So we identified these seven. It was just going to be 7 young men that we stayed with, and they almost became a fabric of what we did. What we also did was to provide them with mentors. We had a very structured development program, which was delivered by all of my friends, and I'm very pleased to say that some of them are here today supporting me. So it was about the development that they would need and the skills that they would need to ensure that as they moved on in the different transition stages of their lives, they were prepared. So year 12 and year 13, to ensure that they were ready to select the universities of their choice and that they were prepared to make the most of the opportunities when they went to university. And then moving on from there, when they were at university, it was about making sure that they were making the most of opportunities and that they were preparing themselves for internships. so that they could stand out in those work environments. Because we know that for most corporate organizations, they will select the students that will ultimately work with them through students who had done internships with them for 1 or 2 years.
Right. So how did you identify these 7, or how did they connect with you?
So at that time, I was actually working in the London Borough of Hackney. The local government had set up what was called the Learning Trust. And the Learning Trust was a private company that was set up to run education in the London Borough of Hackney, because the Education Authority at that time had not provided the development for young people that was required. So it was a private company.
Right, okay.
My background was very much private sector. So I moved from the private sector and into the Learning Trust as head of communications and marketing, because I'm passionate about education. So working in Hackney, I'd seen a lot of very, very bright students, and I just could not understand why they weren't going to the right universities, why they weren't being prepared in the right way. And then my parents at that time were living in Brent. We'd moved them from Kent to Brent because my son, who had been staying with them, had said he would refuse to go to university unless my parents moved closer to my sister and I.
Wow.
So they agreed to move, and so they moved closer to where we were.
Right, okay.
In Brent. So we wanted some students who were from Brent. And then our extended family and a lot of our friends lived in South London. So again, we thought, well, let's get the 7 students that represent those 3 areas. And at that time, we did they had to apply. So we had applications and we selected the best. It was meant to be 5, but we'd identified 7, and so we took those 7.
Right, okay. So you said it was meant to be 7. How much has it turned out to be?
That's the question. Oh, my days.
Hundreds.
Yeah, it's so if I look at today, 2024, we have something like 60 young people who are in our Scholars Program.
Right.
And those young people are the ones who we called for interview and who were successful at interview. So these are our 2024 cohort. We then have our students who are associates. And the associates are those students who were called for interview but were not successful. And so in that cohort, we have something like 30 students. This year, we had over 850 applications for just those 90 places.
Wow.
So what we decided to do in 2021, when we saw a real spike in the number of applications, was to set up what we call the Progressive Online Program. It's an online program to support those students. So of the 850 that applied, I'd say about 100 of them didn't make the grades or lived outside of borough. All of the others, we've given them the opportunity to join the Progressive Online Network Program, where we do a reduced program and it's all done online.
Right, right. And of those who have gone through the system, gone on to internship and employment, just 1 or 2. Where are they? Where did they end up?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so at the moment we've got 143 who've actually graduated and are now working. Mm-hmm. So we've got about 3 of them who are entrepreneurs who all went to university. All of them were either went through Google, and through Google DeepMind, and through Google itself, it has a startup. And as a consequence of all 3 of them going through that, they are now all running multi-million-pound businesses. So very, very proud of them. We then have those students who, we've got our first pilot. I have about 8 or 9 of them who are now medical doctors. We have many of them who are working in corporate spaces, so working for Goldman Sachs, for Linklaters, PwC, JP Morgan.
Colleen Amos, thank you so much for sharing those insights with us, and congratulations on your award tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.